no stress. What if your child didn't just pass exams, but became the leader Ghana is waiting for? Alpha Kids Mentorship is a 12-month transformation where your child masters 5 pillars: leadership, academic excellence, home responsibility, emotional wellness, and career readiness. Every Sunday, experts guide them in small groups online. Monday through Friday, you, the parent, become your child's coach with simple 30-minute activities we provide. No stress, no guesswork, just connection and growth. Your child gets books, materials, recognition, and a community of families pursuing excellence together. While other children waste hours on screens, your child is being shaped into someone extraordinary. We started with 50 children. By popular demand, we've expanded to 100. 50 more spots just opened, but only those who enroll by November 30th get the early investment rate of 2,000 Ghana cedis. After that, it goes back to the original price, 3,000 Ghana cedis. Your parenting stress? Reduced. Your child becomes more responsible and independent. You get valuable progress reports, 12 life-changing monthly books, an exclusive Alpha Kids t-shirt, weekly Zoom workshops, community projects, leadership challenges, exciting monthly events, and a prestigious year-end awards ceremony. All for just 2,000 cedis, down from 3,000. Secure your child's slots now with just 100 cedis. Pay the rest by November 30th. This is your moment. Call or send a message to 053451 5541. 053451 5541. Limited to 50 kids, age 5 to 16. First come, first transformed. Your child deserves this head start. 50 slots? Act now. Alpha Kids Mentorship, where your child becomes unstoppable.
Hello everyone. Yes, this is the final session for day 2. How has it been? Session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4. How has it been for you? I hope you have learned something. Now, this is the final session that we are having, and we are going to talk about discipline without shame, raising responsible citizens. Yes, most of us do our discipline anyhow. I always say that if you hear an African parent say, I'm going to discipline this child, then it means that they are going to really beat the hell out of that particular child. But discipline is not beating. Discipline is not yelling. Discipline is teaching and guiding. So we are going to actually talk more about it from our speaker. And we are going to also make sure that we do that. Please, as you are listening, ensure you are taking notes. Ensure you are implementing. We are going to create a system where you are able to implement whatever that you are going to learn from this session. So without talking much, let's go and listen to the bio of our next speaker.
Is a licensed practicing counselor, founder and manager of TIG. Is a licensed practicing counselor, founder and manager of Tikva Hope Sanctuary, THS, North Laboni. Her qualifications include an LLB, MSc Communication, MAM Pastoral Care and Counseling, diplomas in child psychology, mental health, addiction and recovery, and certification in safeguarding children and child rights law. Irama obtained a master's in pastoral care and counseling. Driven by her passion for the holistic well-being of the individual, she pursued further education in mental health, child psychology, addiction and recovery, safeguarding children and child rights law. She is licensed by the Ghana Psychology Council, GPC, a member of the American Counseling Association, ACA, Ghana Association of Christian Counselors, GACC, and Ghana National Association of Certified Counselors, GNACC. Irama has specialized training in temperament-based abuse, trauma, and crisis counseling. her focus lies in assisting individuals in crisis, experiencing trauma, having mental, emotional, and behavioral challenges by understanding their unique bio-psychosocial cultural factors and administering a compassionate and empathetic therapeutic style counseling. She has an excellent ability to build trust relationships and connect with her members, comprehending their distinctive obstacles and guiding them through their difficulties. Currently, she collaborates with diverse specialists, educational entities, and individuals for a holistic and comprehensive intervention. Pick parent, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage Mrs. Irama Akers.
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon. I don't know if I can be heard because I don't know how to navigate my way through this, but I hope so. I hope I can be heard. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. What we're going to talk about today is discipline without shame. Many times, as our hostess actually introduced that many times as parents, when they say we're going to discipline, it actually means that we're going to just get a cane and do some whacking. But primarily, discipline is not about hurting. It's not supposed to be punitive for that matter. So I'm just going to quickly delve in and share with you. I'm going to take us back to some very basics and build my foundation so that I am on the hope that we are all on the same page. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what is shame. Okay, shame is a very complex and painful emotional experience for any human being, especially for a child. You know, shame comes with negative self-evaluation, feeling inadequate, feeling that you're not perfect, you're unworthy. Shame has a way of doing that to us. And then sometimes shame makes us blame ourselves because we start criticizing ourselves. And sometimes, even when the mistake is not ours, we take on the mistake because we feel a sense that, okay, we should own it. Because that is what shame does. Shame makes you feel so inadequate that you actually start projecting other people's mistakes on yourself. That's what shame does. And it's an emotional pain. It brings about feelings of humiliation and worthlessness. You talk about it. Shame is not a very, very good emotion to have because it makes one internalize a lot. And many times it has a very outward expression on ourselves. When we are in shame, we withdraw, we don't talk much, or sometimes we become the opposite, become very aggressive, very, very bullying, because some bullies actually bully out of shame. Okay, so we now understand what shame is. This is what we want to avoid. And I'm going to take us through the ranges. I mean, I don't know the children we are dealing with, but I'm going to just cut across from toddler to adolescent in terms of how they perceive shame. Usually, a child between 1 or 3 years now begins to understand some social norms and expectations. Shame, for example, if we tease them when they are being potty trained and they do something in their diapers and we're upset about it and we go on about it, they feel a little bit of shame, okay? Or when they're unable to feed themselves and we make a whole lot of negative noise about it. It brings them some shame, but they are able to sort of like bounce back a little bit faster and easier at this age. Okay. Then we go to the early childhood, which is between 3 and 6. So as I said, but there's something about repetition. If that child is in a very constant space of environment of being shamed or being blamed, then what it does is it starts eroding a little bit earlier. Okay, so when we get to the ages of 3 to 6, shame comes more with criticism and then how parents verbalize their disappointment in them, or sometimes demand expectations when we know the child is probably not able to reach that expectation, or is not able, or hasn't gotten to the point where that child can meet that expectation of the child. So at that age, parents become a little bit more demanding or expecting, and sometimes a bit unrealistic. So we criticize them, we point out their mistakes to them, okay, especially when they do something unintentionally, because like for example, a 6-year-old may not be able to lay the bed properly. Like we criticize the child, the child is now feeling a sense of shame, okay. Middle childhood, 7 to 11 years, that is where the shame begins to intensify, not only with parents but with friends, with peers as well, because they have now very solidified, as it were, relationship, peer relationships. So now they are more aware of themselves, they are aware of their environment, they are aware of the people around them more. So shame is beginning to be very evident for them, very, very evident. Okay, especially when we talk about it. And now they start comparing themselves. So like they're not doing well, they can say that, oh, my friend got an A, I got a B. But when a parent or a significant adult hammers on how the child's academic performance is below expectation, if now it resonates with them, then there's shame that I'm not as good as this person, I'm not as good as that person, or I'm bad or whatever. So shame is building as the ages, and this is the most interesting part. The adolescents at this stage, dear, everything is shame for them. This is where they have their bodies have changed, they become more of themselves. They might like their body, they may not like their bodies, they may like their shape, they may not like. So already now there's shame. I mean, they are covering some parts already. So this is a place where relationships are so important to them as well, whether I'm liked or I'm not liked. So shame is coming from all over, internally, externally, parents, teachers, adults. So this is where they rebel. This is where usually shame has the potential of becoming rebellious. It is an emotional feeling that they don't know how to navigate. So they depend on the temperament, they come across as rebellious, not listening, not taking advice, doing what they like. It's just a matter of them trying to navigate their shame in that space. Please, are you showing my slides? Host. Okay. Discipline influence. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate. So, as a human being, but we're talking about children, we all have something that everybody has something that influences them. And primarily, as any human being, we have certain factors, primarily 5 factors that influence. I'm not talking about social media influencers, I'm talking about influencers that are children, okay? Their biological, it's called the biopsychosocial, cultural, religious factors, but I'm going to break it down. Their biological tenets, what we're born with, genetics, their sex, boy, girl, structure, tall, short, heavy, whatever they are born with is innate. It influences them. It influences how they perceive themselves. It influences how others perceive themselves as well. So biological is very, very important for parents to be very aware of, especially when you have 2 or 3 children and they all probably have different structures, or they have different physique, or different outlooks, or whatever it is, or whether they're a boy or whether they're a girl. They all factor shame a little bit different and receive discipline a little bit different. Then we have something called the psychological, okay? That is also innate. It's their mind, their emotions, their thoughts, their coping mechanism, their mental health conditions. These are the intangible aspects of our children, their temperament, their cognitive, okay, their learning disabilities, their learning abilities. These are all psychological, and this is what forms part of our children, okay? And these influencers have a say on shame, and it has a say on discipline. Okay, so we talked about the biological factors of our children, the psychological factors of our children. then these are more accommodating because the first two are innate, meaning that they are born with, because you are born a girl, you are born a girl, unless you want to go and do some drastic change. If you are tall, if you're going to grow up to be tall, you're going to grow up to be tall. Cognitive, if you have learning disability, you have learning disability. These are innate. These are things that normally our children come with. Okay, social is something they come to meet as opposed to come with. Okay, so social factors that influences our discipline and the shame of our children, family dynamics, relationship, socioeconomic position, status, how we discipline as parents. Okay, one parent family overcompensating, it happens. All these things are social factors that have a play in how we influence discipline in our children. Okay. Now, of course, we have religious factors. Religious factors. I mean, as a Christian, somebody would say that in Proverbs 13, spread the rod, spread the rod because you hate the child, or spread the rod and spoil the child. But the same Bible also talks in Psalms that the rod is a staff that comforts our children. The rod guides is supposed to guide and supposed to protect the children. Okay, so these are religious factors. I don't know much about other religion, but these are the religion. And then cultural factors, beliefs, perceptions, practices, community-based disciplinary practices that we do based on either our own perceptions or the family perception. That is how your mother did it, so that's how you do it, or this is what the community does, so we all do it the same. Whatever it is. So these are cultural practices that influence our children's discipline pattern. Next slide, please. I'm going to just dwell on one of the influences, which is the temperament, which is part of the psychological aspect of our children. No, temperament is innate. It says it's an innate emotional predisposition and behavioral style. Innate means they came with it. They didn't come and acquire it. As you come like a girl, a boy, you are dark, you are fair, you come with it. Same with temperament. You come with it. Okay. Temperament has a strong is a strong influencer on how our children perceive shame and receive discipline. Very, very, very important. So let's bear that in mind. So I'm going to take you to the temperament. When you get to know this, you get to know your children a little bit more. Why does my child does this at this time? Or why does, or you have 2 or 3 children and they're all different. They all react and perceive the same situation different. It's not because they are filtering 2 different temperaments. Next slide, please. There are 4 main temperaments. They are throwing a 5th one around there, but we'll stick with the ones that the DSM has accepted. Okay, so we'll go through what we know and then hopefully to what we don't know. We know the word extrovert and we know the word introvert. So primarily, these four temperaments fall under 2 main categories of the extroversion and introversion. In the extrovert portion, extrovert portion, we have the sanguine and we have the choleric. Sanguine and choleric are extroversion. They are happy-go-lucky. They're all over the place. They have a lot of energy. And then we have the introvert, which is the phlegmatic and the melancholic. They are a little bit introverted. They keep more to themselves. They don't talk so much. You know, they are usually well behaved and sometimes a little bit laid back, and we say they are lazy. So these are the temperaments of our children that we're going to be looking at very, very, very shortly. Primarily, every human being has 2 temperaments. So you can be a sanguine, phlegmatic, or choleric, melancholic. I am a melancholic choleric, but usually one is a primary, which means it's dominant, and then you have a secondary, which means it's underneath. It's not that it's not there, but the primary one dominates a little bit. But every now and again, it has a tendency to sort of like pop out. So the idea of knowing your children's temperament is to know their strengths, because every temperament has strength and it has weakness. Every human being has strengths and weaknesses. So the idea is to know the strengths, harness them, know the weakness, and work on them. That is the aim of why it is important to know the temperament of our children, because it does help. It does help to know, how do I discipline this child? Because every temperament receives discipline differently. Next slide, please. We cannot talk about disciplining our children without understanding the parenting styles as well, because every temperament has its unique parenting style because of the nature of how they are. As I shared with you, sanguines are happy-go-lucky all over the place. Um, I mean, they don't really have a care in the world. They have so much energy for fun. They are socialized. I mean, they are really so socialized. Okay, um, so it's important that we understand ourselves as well as parents. So primarily, a sanguine parent is more permissive, they are warm, they are loving, but they lack boundaries because they are socialized. It's like young konkwa, happy, happy, I mean, all over the place. And they are not able to discipline in the way that is expected as a parent or as a, but I use the word parenting style as a broad umbrella. When I talk about parenting style, it could be a significant adult, it could be a caregiver, it could even be grandparents, but I'm just using parenting style as the broad umbrella. So we have the sanguine, and their parenting style is permissive. Permissive means that, as I said, they are warm, they are loving, they lack boundaries, and actually they have no expectations of their children. So you hardly find a permissive parent having the need to discipline their children, hardly, because they are very accommodating. Okay, it's not always good. There must be a balance in terms of structure. There must be a balance in terms of boundaries. There must be a balance in terms of expectation. The warm and the loving is excellent because it gives the child support. Okay, so let's put all these notes down. So sanguine is primarily permissive. Then we have the, please next style, we have the parenting style of a melancholic, which is authoritative. Melancholics themselves are very introspective, very self-disciplined. Those are their temperament. They are very naturally self-disciplined. So you find a melancholic parent being authoritative. Authoritative parents are supportive. All the love and the cuddles come in there, but there's a balance. And they have boundaries because melancholics themselves are very, as I said, self-aware. So they are able to establish boundaries more for their children. And they're very collaborative. They are the kind of parents who can sit down and talk to you and understand your problem or know how to discipline you in terms of collaboration. Okay. Next slide, please. Then we have the phlegmatics. The phlegmatics are very laid back people generally. They lack internal motivation. So they themselves are very laid back. So they become more neglect. Is they don't have the energy to usually chase children around, especially if they have a sanguine child. They don't have that energy. So usually you find phlegmatic parenting as a neglect, a little bit detached. Okay, they allow you to do pretty much what you can do at the age. Okay, they don't really get into the child's business, as it were. They are not. They will do the bare minimum, but when it comes to support, it's very difficult for a phlegmatic parent in terms of the neglect parenting style to give the needed support. They may give some support, but the question is the needed support the child needs. And they lack structure because they themselves don't have structure. They are very, hey Sarah, hey Sarah, they do when they can, while they can. They don't have a structure themselves. Then we have the fourth parenting style by the choleric, which is authoritarian. Authoritarians are very strict, very, very demanding, set very high standards. Whether the child is at the age they can achieve or not is neither here nor there. They have an expectation and you have to meet it. Okay. And authoritarian parents are not, they don't collaborate. They is do what I say. They are not able to, talk with children. They're not able to, dialogue, and they don't have that in them because cholerics generally are very goal oriented, task oriented, success oriented. That's how they are generally. So everything is seen in the light of success, goal, let's achieve. So they themselves, that's how they are. So their parenting style becomes authoritarian. We are bringing all this up so that when we get to the discipline, it would help us to know the kind of parent I am and how I can sort of tweak it a little bit more so that when I discipline my child or children, I do not bring shame. That's the whole essence of this presentation. So now, as our host said, let's go to punishment and discipline. That's a difference, okay? That's a difference. We want to discipline our children. We don't want to punish our children, okay? Because punishment focuses on if usually and when we punish our children, it comes out of our frustrations and out of our negative emotions. That's why we punish children because the idea is to make you hurt. The idea is to vent my frustration, my anger, my whatever it is that the child did or did not do on the child. So it focuses on penalty, it focuses on retribution, it focuses on our own negative emotions, and it focuses more. And what it does is it creates a lot of fear and resentment and rebellion. So that's why sometimes I told you when you get to the adolescent stage, you find that they say that that age is difficult. It's because they may have been harboring a lot of fear and they were younger, resentment. And then when they get to a certain age where they feel a sense that they're either taller than you or they have more vocabulary than you, they can talk back at you or to you. Okay. So usually that's what punishment does. Punishment actually isolates our children from us. It really does. But what discipline does is it focuses on teaching because we should bear in mind, children have come clean slates. They have come to learn. So we have to teach and guide them so that they learn. If you're teaching them in one way and they are not getting it, change their strategy. Maybe their temperament, how you are teaching them is not working. Have to get to know your children's temperament. Teach them differently. And we're supposed to be guiding. As I said, the rod and the staff they talk in the Bible we are supposed to be guiding our children. That is what discipline does. Discipline is proactive. It is not reactive. Punishment is reactive. Discipline is a purposeful, proactive work that parents have to do. You see, so discipline doesn't actually wait. It's not to say that they will not falter or they will not make mistakes, but it's to say that we are going ahead because we know as children they are going to make mistakes, they're going to fall, they're going to falter, they're going to do something we've asked them not to do, or not do something we've asked them to do. We preempt that and we go ahead of the problem by putting discipline in place so that they are learning, they are being guided, we are teaching them, we are focusing on how to help them so that their behaviors, whether the good or the bad, becomes better. If it's good, better. If it's bad, good. So that is what discipline does. Discipline is supposed to be proactively going ahead of our children and putting in place whatever the family dynamics are, putting in place what our children will need. That's what discipline is supposed to do. Next slide, please. So, in simplicity, it says punishment involves shame. This is what we want to avoid. And blame. We actually blame them and pain, while discipline allows them to think, learn, and take responsibility. We talked about responsible citizens. We have to teach them. We can't just expect them to be responsible. We have to teach them, discipline them to be responsible. You know, there's a saying in psychology that you have to connect before you correct. Without connection to our children, it will be so difficult to correct. It might be easier when they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when they start hitting the 12, the teens, the 13, the 14, the adolescents, when they don't feel a sense that you are connected to them or they are connected to you, they don't find you a safe person. So you realize that everything you do or you try to correct or try to discipline them has a resistance. It has a resistance because they themselves don't feel that the adult is safe for them because they don't feel, they can't articulate it, but they don't feel that it's a safe space to come and share with you. For example, if a child did something wrong, they should be able to feel safe and said, oh, significant adult, mom, dad, grandma, caregiver, you know what, I said this and I did this, but I think my friend was upset or my teacher was upset. They should be able to come and tell you. That is where the safe space is. Because safe space is not to say they haven't done anything wrong, but it's to say that they can come to us. It doesn't matter what they've done. They should be able to come to us. And usually safe space gives them the space to grow. It's in that space that you can say to them that, oh, have you thought of doing this instead of that? Or do you think you should go and apologize? Or just, that is where you can actually bring the correction. And the correction is not, I told you so, or it serves you right. No, the correction is, okay, you did this. Think about it. What do you think you could have done different? Or what do you think next time you do different? Because what you are doing, you're allowing them to solve problems. That is responsibility. They're taking responsibility for their actions. That is how we groom responsibility. Active listening. Many times as parents, and I can understand, we've been through the mill, so sometimes we know what is going to happen. But sometimes when they come to us, they are not always looking for advice. They just want you to hear them out. If they want to cry, they want to cry. It's not every time somebody comes to you with a problem, they are looking for a solution. Sometimes they're just looking to vent. What their girlfriend said or didn't say, or what the teacher did or the teacher didn't do, or how they are bored, whatever it is, we have to be active listening. Active listening means that we are paying attention to them. We are asking encouraging questions like, oh, so what did she say? Oh, so she did that to you? Oh, really? So how did that make you feel? So you are encouraging them to open up more. That is active listening. Not butting in at every second, every minute to tell them that I know better. Of course, we know better. But we are giving them the space for them to learn to know better. Because that's the only way they are going to learn. That's the only way they are going to know. Okay. And one thing that we don't do a lot, we don't validate feelings. There's a difference between feelings and emotions. We'll come to that if I get the chance. But feelings are good. It's that is what makes you a human being. Whether you are feeling sad or you want to cry or you are happy or you are tired or you are hungry, that's a feeling. And they are all good. It's the emotions that we have to teach them how to manage. That's different. So let's validate their feelings. I can say that, oh, I'm so sorry that if I hurt my child, I can say, oh, I'm so sorry that what I said made you feel that way. Because the truth of the matter is, whether I meant to make the child hurt the child's feelings or not is neither here nor there. That is how the person feels. Everybody's feelings are real to them, whether I meant the action to do or not. So I should be able to validate their feelings and say, I'm really sorry you felt that way, but I didn't mean it that way. But I can understand how or why you feel that way. We should learn how to do that. Because what we are doing here is we are trying to connect with our children. That's the most, in fact, that's the fundamental or the fundamental pillars or pillar we need to be able to discipline our children effectively and without shame. And non-verbal cues. African parents are very used to having some facial expressions. As my children say, "Mom, check your face." We are very used to having some verbal, and then we have some eyes be like, okay, if you finish talking, you see what I'll do to you, that kind of thing. So the non-verbal cues, our children are smart, but they are so smart. But I think for me, what is so important that we connect with our children is that, look, if they are not talking to us, they are talking to somebody. That is where the danger is. And usually they are talking to their peers who don't know better, or they are on the internet searching for solutions, which is not the safest. So we should learn to connect so that they can come to us. Even if they go and search outside, the idea and the hope is that they'll come, whatever information they got outside, they'll bring it to you so that as an adult, you can add your wisdom to it. Okay, so in communication, let's create safe spaces for our children. Let's be active listening. Let's validate their feelings and let's check our nonverbal. In fact, even holding the phone, sometimes we are talking to our children or our children have come to us and we are busy checking our phones or responding to emails. That's not very healthy. It doesn't communicate that I have your attention. So I think we should really, really watch that. Okay. Remember, I introduced the temperaments to you. So here we have a sanguine. As I said, sanguines are go happy, go lucky. They don't have problems. So they have no boundaries of their own. Their whole life is social. Their whole life is happy, happy doing things. But to connect with a sanguine child, be their friend because they like friends. A sanguine child can have, if I can ask a sanguine child, how many friends do you have in school? They can tell you they have 20 friends. And truly, they mean it because to them, everybody is their friend. So be their friend. I think where parents struggle with friendship with their children is drawing the boundary when to be a parent and when to be a friend. I think the onus is on us as adults, caregivers, parents to learn how to draw boundary lines between being their friends and being their parents. Okay? But be their friend because it helps as sanguine. They like to receive gifts. We're talking about their love language so that we are connecting with them. They like to receive gifts. And gift doesn't mean going out and buying expensive things. No. Look, with a sanguine, it can be as little as buying her a drink she likes or letting her even give her something that she likes of yours as a gift. It doesn't have to be spending money. You know your child, you know your dynamics, you know what you can give to your child, a sanguine child that he or she would appreciate as a gift. And then encourage healthy social life because sanguines are socialized by nature and you find them all over the place with all sorts of friends. So as a parent or a caregiver, you need to be, you see, that's why you need to be their friend so that you know their friends. You know, AC, Kofi, Ama, Kojo. So you can manage their friends for them because Kojo might bring a different energy which you like. AC or Adra might not bring the energy that you like as a parent. So you need to be their friend so that you can manage their social life and they like to go out. So you should be their friend so that they are actually open as to where they are going to go. And then you can manage, okay, you can go out during weekends, you can go out on a weekday, whatever it is that works for the family dynamics. Okay. But to discipline a sanguine, you need boundaries. Sanguines do not have boundaries. They don't know when to stop, how to stop, who to stop with. They will share everything with you just now. So as a parent, you need to have boundaries for a sanguine child. What time you can go out and can't go out. The kind of people they can see, even what they can wear. Trust me. I mean, you must have some boundaries. Establish some very good boundaries, especially where you, the parents, see the weaknesses. Some weaknesses are more evident than others because everybody is a binary temperament human being. So some temperaments, the secondary ones are able to sort of like balance it out. So as a parent, a caregiver, you should establish where your child has the weakness most. Is it talking on the phone for too long? You have to have boundaries so that it will manage them. And you have to discipline them with patience, a lot of patience. Because many times sanguine children don't get it the first time. You can say one thing, yes, you say it again, you have to, but I told you last week. I thought many times it doesn't resonate because their nature is always hyper. So yes, you said it, they heard it the first time, but as soon as they heard it, it's gone. So the second time you might have to repeat the same thing. So you need patience and positive reinforcement. Disciplining with negative enforcement is not good because a sanguine doesn't relate to that. For example, instead of saying every time talking about the wrong things that they did, pick on the good things that they do and highlight it. I mean, give them all the kudos and encourage them. You realize that a sanguine will do better because they do well in praise. So positive reinforcement works better for them when it comes to discipline. Next slide, melancholic discipline. Melancholics are very introverted naturally, and they are, as I said, they are more introspective, they are more disciplined themselves. They are the kind of people who can check themselves out a lot more than most of their they're very compliant, most of their other temperaments. But what they don't do well, they don't communicate well, especially when they are hurt or they are hurting or they have some negative feelings. They don't communicate well. They may act it because they are passive aggressive, but they don't communicate. So it is important that to connect with them. You are the type of parent who intentionally and purposely makes time for that child. Spend quality time with that child so that you can connect with that child because they are not likely to come and share with you. A sanguine can come and share with you what happened. A melancholic will not share with you. The melancholic child may be hurting, may have done something wrong, or going through a problem and will not share with you. It is not their natural nature to share. So you need to make sure your connection is through time with them. It is in the time with them that you can encourage communication. Share your days, they share their days. You tell them what went wrong. That's how you have to do it. And that's how you're connecting with them. And do not compare. If you have two, three, four, five children, do not compare But generally, a general rule, do not compare children. But with melancholics, it's more it has a more devastating effect on them than most other temperaments. They don't like to be compared because they see themselves as perfect. They are perfectionists. So when they put in a lot of effort and you compare them, it really does something really, really, really negative to them. Okay. So to discipline them, discipline with empathy. You must understand them. You must be in their shoes to be able to understand, to discipline them. Because as I said to you, melancholics are introspective people. They are very compliant. They are very adherent to boundaries. That's how naturally they are. So when you are disciplining them, if they do something wrong, which they will because they are human beings, understand them. Come from a place of empathy. They like constructive feedback. Don't criticize them, but give constructive feedback. Yes, they didn't do something well. It's upset you. Yes, tell them they didn't do something, but let it come back as a feedback to something they did that they didn't do well, so that they can go and do better. So the end game here is for you to go back and do better, or for you not to do what you did that was wrong, and give reasons. They like to hear, you see, they like to perfect their life. So they like to hear what they did wrong. There are some parents who say, I'm punishing you, and then you did this. But you're not telling the child, oh, maybe yesterday you didn't do your chores, or you didn't come home early, or your teacher said this. You're not giving the reason why you're upset or you are disciplining them. So please provide reasons why they are being disciplined. They appreciate it. And actually, they take discipline very well, and they would go with it. Phlegmatic. Phlegmatic, as I said, they lack internal they lack internal motivation. These are the children that most parents and adults say that they are lazy. They are not lazy, they just lack internal motivation. So you have to be actively involved in their life. Not necessarily that not necessarily, but actively involved in their life because, for example, if they like football, let me use football example, you must be actively involved in their football journey, going to their soccer practice, asking them about their coach, getting to know the Ronaldo. You must be actively involved in their life because, like melancholics, they are also introverts, but theirs is not perfection. They are okay with status quo. They are a phlegmatic, a melancholic is not okay but will not talk. A phlegmatic will convince themselves that the negative emotion or the feeling they have is okay. And there's a danger there as well because they try and make sense of everything in a very placid way. They like to neutralize negativity. So they make excuses, and that can be very dangerous. So you need to get involved with their lives. When I say, especially the activity, because phlegmatics, as much as they are laid back, which they are, they like outdoor, they're tactile. They like hand things. They like to do things, football, gymnastics, arts, craft. They like things. So get involved with whatever they like. And then to connect with them, use very calm and gentle tone. They don't like shouting. They don't connect well with you when you shout at them and you are screaming. No, they don't connect well with you. So you try and use calm and gentle tone. And they like to be touched. They like because they are tactile themselves, to connect with them. They like, to hold their hand or say, sit by me. They like that. It helps them to connect with the adult. Phlegmatics do not know time. I told you, they don't have any sense of urgency. so they don't have timelines. So to discipline them, you must have timelines. You must do your homework by this time. You must have done this by, and give them targets. Okay, in a week you must have, I don't know, whatever it is, you must have finished all your homework, or you must have cleaned your room, or whatever. Always give them a target, timelines and targets. Be specific about what you want them to do and when they must do it by. And they like because they are not internally motivated. They like reward, and reward doesn't mean go out and buy them something. It just means that, look, for the young ones, it's like, hey, today you get a gold star, or for the older ones, you know what, you get to play your game for extra 10 minutes, or you get to watch telly, or you get to stay up for an extra 5, whatever the reward works for you. And they are very, very sensitive. They recall so easily. So when you're disciplining them and you're confronting them, be sensitive. Be sensitive that this child is sensitive. So even if they've done something wrong, it's not to say that you cannot confront, but it's just to say that be sensitive in choice of words and choice of words, tone of language, and tone of voice. Just be sensitive, because they are sensitive beings. That's it. And then we have the choleric. The choleric, they are born leaders. They come multitaskers, born leaders, very, very verbally aggressive. They are just onto themselves. Okay, but what, because they are multitaskers, acts of service, when you do things for them. For example, if a choleric is supposed to have ironed their uniform, and then they come back and you've ironed their uniform, they will really appreciate it. It's not that they can't do it, because they are all over that they can do stuff, but they like acts of service. They like people to do things for them, because they are capable of doing things for themselves. So when they see someone else doing something for them, they really appreciate it. And then trust in their leadership role. For example, if there are 3 siblings and the choleric is older, trust them. Trust them to say that, okay, you know what, this afternoon you're taking care of your younger siblings. They like position, they like control, because they are natural born leaders. So give them, say that today you're in charge of cleaning or taking care of the living room. That is your area of responsibility. Whether they are doing it or not, don't make sure it's done, because they like the fact that they are in control. And then knowledge efforts. Look, the cholerics are so smart. They will research, they will know, they will ask. So to connect with them, have some knowledge about the things they like, or the things, maybe a topic they are dealing with at school at that, whatever the topic is, because they are not also static. They're not very static with topics or an area, but whatever area is the area of the day for them, get to know about it, and then connect with them on that level. When it comes to choleric, as for a parent, an adult, or caregiver who wants to discipline a choleric, you, the parent, must be very direct and very assertive. Not necessarily loud or shouting, but you must know what you are saying, and you must be assertive in your tone. For example, you've asked me if you could go out. I have said to you, you cannot go out. Do not ask me again. You have, because cholerics will push boundaries. Choleric will go and ask mommy. Mommy will say no. Go and ask daddy. Daddy will say no. Go and ask daddy that, is it okay if I go and I ask? Choleric will push boundaries. So you have to be very direct, and also they read meaning. So your expression of discipline must be very direct, unambiguous. Don't let them read meaning into it, and be very assertive. And then collaboration, give them options. Okay, your discipline is, for example, you can't go out this weekend, or you can't watch telly this week. Whatever it is, let them choose. At the end of the day, it's still discipline. Whatever, or you clean your room tonight, or you clean the kitchen tomorrow morning. Either way, you want some discipline, you want some work done, whatever the child is supposed to do. But give them options. Not giving the options that they get away with the discipline. No, give them options that you, the parent, has chosen as disciplines, so that the child gets to choose that either I forego this or I do this, whatever it is, because they do better that way. Because we've come to the conclusion that we are not here to punish our children, we are here to discipline them. Discipline is proactive, and discipline is supposed to guide them direct them, allow them to problem solve and also take responsibility for their actions. And sometimes you can say to them, go and think about what you did and come and tell me how I should discipline you. A choleric is very good at that. Avoid power struggle. That's why I said you have to be direct and assertive, because if your discipline in words are ambiguous, you realize that at a certain age, it will be like she says, he says, you say, he says. No, an adult discipline a choleric child, never give them that space of power struggle where the child is saying, the adult is saying, no way, don't do that, cut that. So it has to be direct, has to be assertive. When you feel a sense that there's a power struggle, just cut it. Give your final authorization, whatever it is, and then just say, that is it, this is the end of it. And don't talk about it again, even when they bring it up, because you are done. I'm just going to give you some very simple strategies. When they are younger, as I said, it's a little bit easier. So redirect their behavior, distract them, and surprise them. Okay, so sometimes you need to do that. Redirect the child's focus on something else, because when they are toddlers or 3 years, maybe they are doing something they're not supposed to do. They don't know they're not supposed to do. So find something else to replace what they were doing. Okay, for example, I have a child who likes to play with the sockets, the sockets. One, the parents now have to block all the lower sockets with something, and then give them something else to do. Okay, it's not that they are being bad, but you are training them that sockets are not good. It has a potential to electrocute you. But at that age, you can't really explain or express that in English words. All you can do is help them to avoid it by you, the parent, being proactively protecting them. At all ages, sometimes you have to ignore certain things, because sometimes our children do things for attention, and a child will do sometimes even negative attention. So it is important that we pick and choose. It is not going to harm them or harm somebody else, or it's not going to be destructive, and they are just being, for example, if a child wants to lie down and cry in a corner and the child is safe and you are safe, it's okay, just ignore it. But of course, if the child is throwing themselves in maybe a public place and they're crying, of course, you're not going to ignore it. So pick and choose what is safe and what you can ignore. Because sometimes small behaviors are not necessarily, they don't need address. Because I know some parents who address everything, even when the child is, I forgot exactly, I think it was scratching their nose or scratching it. The parents were going, and I was like, you don't pick on everything. Sometimes just leave it, let it be. Okay, this is for all ages. Pick and choose what you need to discipline, what you don't need to discipline. For all ages, okay, some disciplines is to withhold privileges. As I said, it works. But it's not to withhold something as like a meal. I know some parents who would not give their children food as a sign, as a form of, but that is actually punishment and abuse. But so please, you can withhold privileges, like you can't go out today, or you can't whatever that they like, but please don't withhold food and bed, or something that the child needs, necessity. Please don't withhold necessity. Okay, when you catch your child doing something, it is so important, especially the younger ones. If the older ones, positive reinforcement actually changes misbehavior faster and better than criticizing the problem. Positive reinforcement, when they do something good, highlight the good. I know Sandwich like that a lot, but generally, when children do something, highlight the good more than the bad, because they will do bad. They will mistake. That is a fact, because they are children. But don't let us hammer too much on the mistakes. Let's hammer on the ones they have done well, even if it's an effort. If, let's say, it was an effort to do something, but they didn't do it 100%, celebrate the little wins. Celebrate the effort that the child tried to do. Discipline disparity. We've talked about the different parenting styles, and because we know that we all have different temperaments, we are bound to have different parenting styles. I brought this out because this is something that comes up in my sessions over and over and over again. When parents have different discipline styles, authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, neglect, there is bound to be a clash, and that is not good for the children. It is not, because one parent is disciplining in this way, another parent is disciplining, it brings confusion, and that is not very healthy. So what I always suggest is that because we all have different disciplining styles or parenting styles, our discipline will be different. So as adults, you need to sit and agree that this is the child, okay? How do we discipline? If this child does that, what have we agreed that works for us and for the child, or will work for the child? So parents agree. So it is not about mommy's parenting style or daddy's parenting style. It's about the child's parenting style. So we have agreed that this is how we're going to discipline the child. We are either going to take the game away, the phone away, they do not go, they go to bed early, whatever. Adults must agree. So it's no longer daddy's discipline or mommy's rules. It is the child, the discipline rules for the child or the children in the home. I hope we take note of this, so because this is an area of contention that causes a lot of stress for the children, a lot of stress for the children. So please, adults, caregivers, significant adults, parents, if we have discipline, different parenting styles, our discipline is bound to be different. We need to agree how we discipline so that it is one common voice. So if the child goes to mommy, it's the same. If the child goes to daddy, it's the same. There are no variation, no disparity there. So the common rules. What helps for all some more than others, but what really, really does help for the sanguine child is when you involve them. So when mommy and daddy have agreed that these are our rules, these are disciplinary rules or whatever, it's so nice to involve the children. Look, I have children as young as 3 who are being made to draw what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. I even know adults who have had to sign disciplinary contracts in the home. And then there must be consequences and then for non-adherence and reward for adherence. You cannot have disciplinary rules without consequences and reward. It doesn't work. When they break it, you must have agreed. If you break this, this is what you happen. If you do well for the whole of this week, this is what you get. And what you get doesn't mean that you have to buy something. It just means that maybe 10 minutes extra staying up or 10 minutes extra using their phone or watching a movie or even create a movie. If they do well, we create a movie night for them. We have to find innovative ways to reward our children and not just buying them things. Consequences the same, as I shared in the earlier slide. Privileges. Take away privilege. Even young children appreciate privileges. You can't play with this toy at this time because you did this. And privileges must directly correlate with good behavior. And consequences likewise must directly correlate with misbehavior, because children cannot, especially when they are much younger, cannot marry the two. They can't, for example, a child did something 2 days ago and you want to discipline them today. The likelihood that they're going to marry what they did and the discipline is very, very low. And what it does is that it doesn't mean why you're disciplining the child. It defeats the purpose. So even if it's a day or so later, you must always bring to their remembrance that, okay, you remember this, that, and talk it through. Okay, so now this is your discipline for what you did 3 days ago, 4 days ago. The same way for reward. You did this, so this is your reward for the whole of this week. You did well in school or whatever it is. So this weekend, this is your reward. It must correlate directly. Many times immediacy is important, but if you can't and it has to be postponed, please correlate it. Bring that to the reward or the discipline. Okay. And also especially in our culture or our setting where we have a lot of others like house help or just people helping us, especially when they have the right to discipline our children, it's important that they are all brought on board so that the children are not disciplined differently. For example, if you have a job or they have nannies who are disciplining them, Ideally, they shouldn't be, but if they have to, it has to be, as I said, it has to be the discipline structure that mommy and daddy or the significant adults have agreed on. That person should not and must not go out of that discipline. It must be what has been agreed so that the other person is not doing something different. So it's important that if you have anybody else helping in disciplining our children, we should bring them on board as well. Okay, so these are just a few things that I'm going to share here. We've talked about spanking doesn't necessarily mean discipline. Yelling, taking away necessities of food, it's not discipline. Okay, shaming and belittling them is not discipline. Discipline is consistency. Being consistent we do. Being proactive in putting in place what they need ahead of time. Comparing them to other children is not discipline. Punishing them punitively so that they can hurt and cry is not discipline. Lack of empathy out of our own negative emotions is not discipline. Okay. Some discipline strategies I've talked about is, you encourage our children to develop because sometimes, as I said, authoritarian parents have unrealistic expectations of their children. Honestly, some of them really do. And then they're frustrated because the child is not meeting that expectation. That is not discipline. That is not good. That's not discipline. As parents, we must get to know our children and encourage them to develop in their goals. Of course, you can guide them. You're supposed to guide them, but they must have goals. They can share with you, and in your wisdom, you can guide them and you can support them. Okay. Some strategies of discipline is, as we talked about a few, it's actually modeling the behavior. We can model the behavior. Okay, I've talked about behavior contracts, problem solving. Sit down and talk to them. You did this last week. Okay, you've done it again 2 weeks ago. Okay, what are you struggling with? Okay, maybe the child spends too much money or whatever. What are you struggling with? Is it because you can't budget? Okay, should I help you to budget or whatever? You always get into trouble with your friends. What is it? Is it because you are sharing too much? Talk to them. Let's problem solve together. So you're teaching the skills of problem solving. Because at the end of the day, we say we don't want shame and then we want them to be responsible. Okay. So primarily, these are the takeaways that I want you to take away. I want us to take away that punishment is not discipline. Punishment is reactive. Discipline is proactive. I want us to delve into our own selves and look at our parenting styles. And as two
Yes, 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 yes. We are here. We are here. I think our speaker has a few network issues. We are hoping she's able to join us soon so that we can conclude with her session. How has it been? How has it been? I know most parents had a different, understanding when it comes to discipline. The word discipline has actually been abused. When we mention discipline, we think it's about beating, we think it's about yelling. But no, today we have learned that discipline is you being responsible, you being consistent, you following what you have to follow, following a system that is you being disciplined. Discipline is not about yelling, it's not about, beating a child or spanking. That is not discipline. That is you punishing the child. You are causing pain to someone and they grow to become irresponsible. That is what you do. When you punish a lot, the child grows to become irresponsible. But when you are disciplined, when you discipline, when you teach, when you guide, it means you are raising a responsible child. How has this session been? Let me know your comments in the comment section. Let us see how this session has been for you. What have you learned? What are you taking with you today? What are you going to implement today with you? Let's see your comments. Let's see your comments. Okay, our speaker is back. Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Where did I sign off?
I think you were saying, you said you wanted to wrap up everything for us.
Okay,
And that
I'm
is
so
where we
sorry.
got
The
to.
internet is playing up a little. I'm so sorry about that. What I said,
It's
I
fine.
want us
It's
to
fine.
take away with us is make sure that punishment is reactive, discipline is proactive. We need to get ahead of ourselves. I really want us to take that away. I want us to also take away that our children are different. So one discipline style may not suit another. You might think it's working for one. Yes, it may, but they're different temperaments. It may work for one and may not work for the other two. And at the end of the day, you get frustrated and you are actually venting your frustration. So get to know your children. So you tailor your discipline to suit each and every one of them. So that's what I wanted. That's my major takeaway for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We really, really appreciate, and we honor you. We don't take your time for granted. Thank you
I'm
so much
grateful.
for being here. And of course, we are going to go ahead and do more sessions together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I've really, really enjoyed your session. I hope other parents have also enjoyed and learned
I
something
hope so
new.
too. Is there a
Okay.
Q&A?
Yes, there's a
Okay.
Q&A. Please, if there are any questions, kindly drop them in the comment section so that our speaker can answer that for you. We have 2 minutes to ask questions. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? We are waiting. Of course, I don't think there are any questions. In fact, you have taken your time to explain everything to us in detail. And I don't think there are any questions so far. So thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. And enjoy the rest of the day.
And you too. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you so much. We have ended today's sessions. We have brought day 2 to an end. So how has day 2 been? Please let me know your feedback. Send me your feedback in the group. Let me know how it has been for you. What have you learned? What are you taking with you today to implement now? It's very, very important. See you tomorrow, day 3. We are going to have 4 speakers. Okay, so how do you join the inner tribe? Okay, so the inner tribe, you can please send a message to 053 451 5541. 053 451 5541. Please send a message to us and we will respond to you as soon as we see your message. Thank you so much for asking. So tomorrow is day 3, the final day, and we are going to take 4 sessions. We're going to have 4 sessions tomorrow. So don't miss. It's going to be back to back to back. And you don't want to miss any session tomorrow. Tomorrow is a weekend. I know most of us will be at home. So use that opportunity to put yourself together and create the time to learn, to learn. Yes, we learn every day. Is a learning process. And as we are learning every day, we are getting better. So see you all tomorrow. Keep sharing the link to other parents. Keep sharing the link. Okay, someone is asking, I have a question. Please go ahead and ask your question. Please go ahead. We have just a few minutes to be here. So please go ahead with your question so that we can look at it for you. We are waiting. Okay, so the question is, how do one stop the yelling, especially for the younger ones? Thank you so much for your question. So we don't have Irama here. I will answer your question for you. So what I say every time, most of the time, is that just put yourself in the situation, okay? You are someone, you go to a different planet, you go to, let's say, planet Jupiter, and then over there you go and meet a whole lot of people, different kind of people. You go there and then they take you through what you need to do, how you need to live here, how you need to eat, and all of that. And then anytime you try to do what they have taught you, you make a mistake. And every time you make a mistake, they beat you. They yell. That is all they are doing. Just put yourself in that situation. How are you going to feel? You are never going to feel okay. You're never going to be happy. And it's the same thing with our kids. Our kids are young. Their brains, their minds are not fully developed. A child's mind fully develops at age 25. And they are still young. They are still developing their brains. So when you are always yelling, when you are always shouting, you are not helping them develop that part of their brains that will make them become more creative. Okay, so if you have an understanding of how a child's brain is when they are young, you will tell a child not to put this thing here. The moment you go and come, they've done what you are telling them not to do. Their brains are not fully developed to make meanings of certain things. And sometimes too, they do things because they are curious. They want to understand how things work. They want to know, if I pour this water on the floor, what is going to happen? If I pick maybe this bowl and I leave it on the floor, like I just leave it and then it hits the floor, what is going to happen? They are curious. Out of curiosity, they tend to do things. So it is with us, okay, as parents, to have this understanding of how a child's brain works so that we'll be able to understand them. That is why it's important that the moment you become a parent, the first thing you need to do is to grow, is to learn, is to heal from your younger self, the things you have been through. You know, how we were raised is the same way we are raising our kids. Though we didn't like it, most of us detested how our parents raised us, but we find ourselves doing the same thing. It's because that is the only thing we know. Until we heal, until we learn, until we tell ourselves we are going to learn how to control our emotions. Yesterday, we spoke about emotional intelligence, how you can master your emotions. Without emotional mastery, you can't really understand your child. And it's these things that I'm saying, you don't take just a day to learn. You need to be in a system that will hold you accountable. You are learning every day. Every day as you are learning, that is when you begin to, understand certain things. And then gradually, as you are following the process, you begin to know that, okay, these things that I do, these are the consequences. This is what I need to do next time. I have to do. You are on a process. You are on a journey. And that is how you begin to really know and understand things very well. So understand how a child's brain works. A child will do the things you ask them not to do. It's something that we need to get. So we need to put ourselves in a situation where we are guiding them, we are teaching them. That is why discipline, okay, is very, very, very important. It's not the way we think it is, but discipline is teaching, guiding the child step by steps. That is what you need to understand. I hope I have answered your question. I hope I have been able to answer your questions. And before Irama came, there was also another question. And the question was the speaker who spoke about boys. She mentioned something, and someone asked, building character and conviction in your kids. What is conviction? The person asked the meaning of conviction. So your convictions as a parent will mean maybe your beliefs. What are your beliefs? Okay, what do you believe? So you are more like passing on your beliefs to your child, about your beliefs about how things should be done. Your beliefs. What are your values? Okay, what are the things that you hold dearly? Are you passing down those things to your child? So you need to know all of that. Don't just believe in something and then you are not able to pass them on to your children. You need to, your deeply held beliefs when it comes to life, when it comes to morality, when it comes to purpose, behavior. Are you able to pass those things down to your child? And you need to be in a system, as I have said, to be able to do know how to actually do all of that. You need to spend time with your kids. You need to actively get involved in how you are raising your children so that you'll be able to pass on your convictions to your kids. If not, they will learn things that they are not supposed to. And in the long run, it's not going to help you, the parents. There are so many things that we hear, so many stories, so many things people call us, parents call us, and sometimes they wish that they knew what we are teaching now. Sometimes most parents feel like, where were you when I was, raising my child? Where were you? Because there are so many mistakes I have done. So if you are listening to this message, if you are here, you joined yesterday, you joined today, know that you are not here by accident. There is a reason why you are hearing this, and you need to take that action that you need to take so that together we can raise a whole new generation. We can raise a generation that will really transform the nation. That is what we need now. Africa, I say all the time that we have been given more to just find ourselves here. We have been given, God has blessed us with so many things, but why are we still where we are? We need to focus on the family, on the homes. How are we raising our children so that they will grow to see failures, to see mistakes, to see challenges, and then they will tell themselves that I'm going to turn this into something greater. They will grow to see our challenge in Africa, and they will tell themselves that, no, I have to stand to really take up these challenges to make this continent a better place. I hope that I have answered all your questions. If there are any questions, kindly drop them and we will look at them for you. If you want to know more about the Alpha Kids mentorship, kindly send us a message on our number 053-451-5541, and we will answer you with all the details that you will need. And the Inner Tribe registration is also ongoing. We are going to give all details tomorrow, all details with registration details and everything. So if you are interested, don't miss tomorrow's session. We need to all come together and do something different. Thank you for being here. Share the link with other parents and see you tomorrow in tomorrow's class. It's going to be fire. Don't miss. Bye-bye.